Hello, this is Troxel. In today's video, we're going to look at some basic information that we can find out from both the project and the events on the timeline. So, if we want to know the width and the height of the timeline, we can determine that. We can also look at the pixel aspect ratio for the timeline, and then for the clips or events on the timeline, we can also look to see the video height and width of that, whether or not it has video and whether or not it has audio. So let's get started. For today's video, I've created a timeline that's got one video track with an image on it and a video clip on it. And you notice the video clip also has audio on it, and that will be so we can determine whether or not it has audio. For this example, we're only going to look at the video track. So let's look at our code that we've started with today, and we're actually going to run it as we go through step by step in debug mode. So let's get this started. We need to pick our target application, and then we can run it. And now we are stopped here on my sequence. And then so the first line is my sequence equals app.project.activeSequence. And then on this next line here, we're going to get the sequence setting. So let's go ahead and step into that line. Okay, now we have the sequence settings, and if we come over here in our list, we can look at the sequence settings, and we will see that it gives us an audio channel count, an audio channel type, audio display format, and all types of other information as we go down through this list here. So by looking at the sequence settings, now we easily get the width of the project. So let's do a step down, and we'll come up here and look at our width. The width project is 1440, and we'll step into it and we'll get our D height project is 1080. So this is a 1440 by 1080 project. Now to get our pixel aspect ratio, we have to do a little bit of work. When we look at our sequence settings, our pixel aspect ratio is actually a string. So let's go back down to our sequence settings, open this back up, and if we look at our pixel aspect ratio, video pixel aspect ratio, you will see that it says that is 1920:1440. Because of that, it's a string and we really want a number. So we need to get this into string format. So we pull this into the S string pixel aspect, and we are splitting it on the colon. So if I look at the S pixel aspect, which is right here, we will see that it is an array that has two numbers, 1920 and 1440. So I can get the actual pixel aspect number by taking the first value, dividing it by the second value. And so we've got the value 0 divided by the value 1. So we have 1920 divided by 1440. And that will give us, if we go down and look at our D pixel aspect ratio, it is now set to 1.333333. Now we're going to assume that we're only going to look at the first video track. And so we're going to go through this video track. We're going to go through all the clips on this video track. We're going to set my clip to the ith one, so we're going to be looking at the picture first. So let's get the 0th clip. Now we're going to get the project item from my clip, which will actually get us the clip information from the bin. So that's an easy way for us to get back to the bin clip without having to search through all the bins to find it. So just say bin clip equals myclip.project item, and we're down to the bin clip. Here I've created a routine called video clip size, which is going to determine the size of the bin clip. So when we call this routine, it is going to use this XMP library that's available, and you need to just type this line in. This line can be found in the examples: GitHub, Adobe CEP, Samples, Blob, Master, P-Pro Panel, JSX, P-Pro, Premiere.jsx. you can find the example in here to access all of this information here. So when we look at our D width now, we can come over here, and our D width is set to 3024, which is the size of that image, and then our D height is set to 4032, which is the size of that image. Next, let's check to see if that image has video and has audio. We're just going to skip over both of those. And now we can look at has video. And you will see has video is true, has audio is false. Well, how did we determine those? Well, I created two new routines, clip has video and clip has audio. These are basically the same as the last one we looked at, but let's come down here and look again. The clip has video. We're once again going to define this if it has not been defined. This line is exactly the same. This line, we changed it so that we're looking for video duration. Then we get the project media metadata again, convert it into a metadata file, and then I'm just simply asking, does this property exist? Is there a video duration listed in there? If that answer is yes, then we have video. If that answer is no, then we do not have video. So we just return that as a true or a false. And the same thing down here with clip has audio. Once again, define this. This line is exactly the same. This line we change to look for audio duration. These three lines are exactly the same, except for this time when it does the does property exist, it's looking for the audio duration. And if it found it, then it will return true. If it did not, it will return false. So in this case, it returned false for the audio because it's a picture and did not have audio, and it returned true for the video. So let's go through and let's look at the next clip. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell it to continue, and it will stop down here. And right now, if we look at size, we will see it's got four elements, 19, X, 1080, and 1.0. So we're going to get the 0 for the width, and the second element, the item in the number 2 position for the height, which is the third element. So we're going to get the 1920 for the width and the 1080 for the height. And let's go ahead and go over these next two lines. And so now our D width and D height. So our D width is 1920. Our D height is 1080. So those are both correct. And then we go down to has audio is now true. Has video is also true. So this, because this bin clip has audio, it is set to true. These are some basic routines that you might want to save so that you can load them anytime you need them. The basic information here is very useful in many cases, so save this information and you'll be able to use them over and over again. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.